In the dark room, Goku was rigid, his body covered in blood and scratches, with his eyes shining with anger and determination. He grabbed the ring that his grandfather had given him, while a mixture of betrayal and fear intertwined with his indomitable resolution. With anger and eyes closed, Goku exclaimed, "Did they underestimate me? Did they think these walls would stop me? This ring. I have seen one like this before. There is a secret here, and I will discover it, whatever it takes." A powerful energy began to emanate from him, and the aura that surrounded him intensified and shone more strongly. He slowly raised his hand, concentrating his energy on the walls that trembled violently, as if they responded to his fury. Goku said firmly as he hit the wall with his fist, "If they think I'm gonna give up, it's because they don't know who I am." His cry filled the void, and the walls began to crack under the growing pressure of his energy. Outside, the angels and the gods of destruction gathered in a remote place, surrounded by laughter and joy. They made fun of Goku, imagining him furious and trapped without an exit, unable to break his chains. Belmont, laughing out loud, said, "I never imagined that Goku, who always boasted of his strength, would be imprisoned so easily. How ironic." Veers, with a less enthusiastic but astute tone, replied, "We have already laughed enough, but how will we justify his absence before the grandfather? They know that he will not leave us alone if they discover it." There was a brief silence, and expressions of concern began to appear in some of them. Whis, calm but with hidden tension, added, "The grandfather is not naive. If he asks about Goku and we do not give a convincing answer, he will discover the truth." Then the grandmother, with a malicious smile, took confident steps and said firmly, "They don't see it. It's simple. If my husband asks, we will tell him that Goku harassed my grandmother during training, and then, realizing the gravity of what he did and feeling ashamed, he ran away and disappeared." At first, everyone looked at her with amazement, but then they began to fill with their heads, each one hiding their own anxiety for the moment when the truth could come to light. Inside the room, Goku, full of anger, remembered his family and said, "They killed them. They killed them in front of my eyes, and I couldn't do anything." His voice trembled, and expressions of pain were drawn on his face. But soon he shouted ferociously, as if the pain was burning inside him. He remembered the moment he killed Zeno, and how that happened under the influence of his anger and confusion. With sadness and remorse, Goku said, "I killed Zeno. He was innocent, but he paid the price for my guilt, and now everyone has betrayed me." He began to train with fury, throwing blows and kicks into the void with violence, as if he were facing his enemies. Each movement carried the weight of his anger and memories. Suddenly, his energy exploded, and Goku seemed to be fighting against himself, his body burning with anger, and his spirit looking for a way out. Challenging himself, he shouted, "Is this all you have? Are you gonna let them think they have won? Show them that you are stronger than they can break. Come on, Goku." The blows, loaded with energy, caused internal explosions, and the walls began to show small cracks. Suddenly, the place was filled with an intense light, and a mysterious aura flooded the space. Goku, who was screaming and training with force, suddenly stopped and fixedly looked at the bright light in front of him. With a trembling voice and full of amazement, he said, "What is this? Did the door open?" He stepped back a few steps, his eyes fixed at the point where the light emanated. He was excited, but after a few seconds, the aura began to fade gradually, and a figure appeared from the center of the light. With a loud and angry voice, Goku exclaimed, "This is impossible!" Before his eyes, the great priest appeared, whom everyone believed dead for a long time. His face looked serene, and his eyes showed an enigmatic expression. With a doubtful voice and trembling at the impact, Goku said, "Great priest? How are you here? Weren't you dead?" The priest approached with confident steps, while Goku, in a state of confusion and bewilderment, felt a mixture of anger and fear. However, he quickly controlled his emotions. The priest said calmly, looking directly at Goku, "I'm not dead, Goku. I was trapped inside the ring." Goku remembered the ring his grandfather had given him. Then, with anger and clenching his fists, he exclaimed, "This ring is another trap. Did Grandpa know?" The priest, with a cold tone, replied, "No, Grandpa did not know. I came back to life thanks to you. Your energy, full of anger, was the one that released me." Goku took a step forward, tense, but he held his anger. Then, cautiously, watching the priest closely, he said, "I want to know the truth, right now. Were you the cause of everything that happened to my family?" The priest, with a malicious smile, replied, "Things are not as you think. There are much greater things than you can imagine. But first, you must know who I really am and what happened before all this." Goku calmed a bit, but remained alert. He knew that the truth that he was about to hear could change everything. Outside, the grandpa's anger was like a relentless storm, standing in the middle of the palace and radiating energy and fury, and his voice resounded like a thunder. With a severe and angry tone, the grandpa exclaimed, "If Goku does not appear, I will execute everyone who knew where he was and did not tell me. I will not tolerate any treason or complicity." His words resounded throughout the palace, sowing fear in the hearts of the angels and the gods of destruction. Grandmother, in a corner, watched the situation in silence without daring to intervene. Meanwhile, Goku's friends found out what was happening. Vegeta said, "How is it possible that Kakarot harassed his grandmother? It's ridiculous." Krillin, calmly but with irritation, commented, "Goku is not like that. We know him well. There is something strange here." While everyone was arguing and questioning, the doubt began to rise in some, but those who really knew Goku were sure that he would not do something like that. Inside the room, Goku was in front of the priest, trying to contain his anger. He had managed to calm a bit, but was waiting for a logical explanation of what was happening. The priest took a step forward. With a serious tone, he said, "Goku, not everything is what it seems. Everyone has been deceived, and you are the first. I am here to reveal the truth to you, but you must listen carefully, because what you are going to hear could change everything." Goku squeezed his fists, but decided to be patient. With a tense tone, he said, "Speak quickly. I'm tired of lies." The priest smiled lightly and began to reveal the truth about his existence. "Goku, my mother was the one who betrayed me. The moment I was released, I discovered the whole truth. She sacrificed me without a doubt. She used me to achieve her ambitions. It was she who locked me up inside the ring. And the curse of this ring was the cause of everything that happened." Goku's hands trembled and his eyes shone with fury. With a trembling voice as he tried to control his emotions, Goku asked, "Your mother? Why would she do that? Does she even deserve to be called a mother?" The priest, with a sad but firm tone, replied, "She sought absolute control and to see everyone kneeling before her. But your anger, that energy that you unleashed, was what awakened the hidden power within the ring, and the moment I was released, I discovered the whole truth. She sacrificed me without a doubt. She used me to achieve her ambitions. It was she who locked me up inside the ring, and the curse of this ring was the cause of everything that happened." Goku's hands trembled and his eyes shone with fury. With a trembling voice as he tried to control his emotions, Goku asked, "Your mother? Why would she do that? Does she even deserve to be called a mother?" The priest, with a sad but firm tone, replied, "She sought absolute control and to see everyone kneeling before her. But your anger, that energy that you unleashed, was what awakened the hidden power within the ring and allowed me to free it. That is why I give you the opportunity to discover the truth and to find a way out." The priest took a break and then pulled out another ring, bright with a strange energy, different from the first in design, but with the same imposing aura. Raising it in front of Goku, he said, "I stole this ring from my mother before she locked me up. It is the key to a greater power than anything you have ever seen before. It will grant you absolute galactic transformation, a power that exceeds all limits. But my only warning is that this power has a price." Goku took the ring, looking at it as if he were overweighing every word of the priest. Then he said, "I don't care about the price. I'll get out of here, and I'll make everyone who played with me pay. But don't even think for a moment that I trust you." The priest smiled with malice and replied, "I don't ask you to trust me, Goku. I just ask you to use this power wisely. What you will face outside will not be less dangerous than what you left behind." Goku placed the ring on his finger, feeling a massive explosion of energy go through his body. As he released the power of the ring, a new and radiant aura surrounded him, a combination of fury and concentration. Although anxious to get out and take revenge on those who betrayed him, the priest remained firm in front of him and said in a severe tone, "Stop, Goku. You can't leave now. The power you obtained is just the beginning. If you leave now without mastering it, you will become a tool in the hands of your enemies." Goku retreated slightly, fighting to keep calm, and with a determined tone he replied, "I have wasted enough time. My family is dead, my friends betrayed me, and my grandfather probably thinks I'm a monster. There is no time to train." The priest calmly replied, "That is precisely why you need to master this power. Revenge is blind, and if you are not prepared, you will destroy everything, even yourself." Convinced by means, Goku began his training under the guide of the priest, who directed him towards the control of the absolute galactic transformation. Outside, the grandfather was in the palace of Zeno, more furious than anyone had seen before. With a powerful voice, he looked at everyone around him and said, "How could you allow that troublemaker to escape? I want your location now, and if you do not find it soon, all of you will face the consequences." The silence took over the place, while fear flowed into the hearts of the angels. The grandmother, who was sitting in a corner of the palace with a malicious smile, felt calm and satisfied. During training, while Goku launched energy explosions, he stopped for a moment and fixed his gaze on the priest with eyes full of distrust. With a severe tone and full of suspicions, Goku asked, "Why are you helping me now? You are the priest who betrayed everyone in the past. Why should I believe that you have changed?" The priest replied in a sad but sincere tone, "Because I was a fool. My mother used me, played with me, and made me destroy everything I loved. But now I realize my mistakes. Helping you is the only way I have to redeem myself for what I did." Goku hesitated for a moment, but then he said with determination, "I don't care about the price. I'll accept your help, but I will watch you closely. If I feel for a second that you are cheating on me, I will not hesitate to end you." The priest smiled and said with confidence, "That's all I ask. I will not disappoint you, Goku. Now focus on mastering this power. The grandfather will soon meet you." Months passed slowly while Goku trained in complete isolation. Every day he was full of internal fights with himself, remembering his family and friends, wondering if anyone still thought of him. With each training session, his power reached unimaginable levels, until finally he dominated the absolute galactic transformation. With a determined and full of anger, Goku said to himself, Today I will go out. It is time to settle accounts, and I will have no mercy." Outside, the angels and the gods of destruction gathered at a great party to celebrate their victory over Goku. They laughed, raised their glasses, and praised themselves for having saved the universes. Viris, smiling cunningly, commented, "It was too easy. Goku is just a memory now. It's over."
Vados, who did not feel comfortable with what was happening, said cautiously, "Maybe we shouldn't trust each other so much. Who knows what could happen?" Champa laughed out loud and said sarcastically, "Vados, enough fears. Goku is finished and will not return." But suddenly, a strong shake shook the entire palace of the angels. The party stopped, and everyone looked around with caution. Whis, with a calm but worried tone, said, "What is this feeling, this energy? It's strange but familiar." Belmont replied with a confident laugh, "Don't be ridiculous. Do you think Goku is alive? It's just an illusion." However, before he could finish his sentence, the door opened suddenly and Goku entered with burning eyes and a look full of anger. His new aura radiated an immense light, and the energy emanating from it made everyone feel fear for the first time in a long time. With a tone that hurt everyone's skin, Goku said as he looked at them one by one, "I'm back. Did you miss me?" The astonishment was evident on everyone's faces. Nobody expected Goku to return, and much less with such immense power. Champa screamed in fear, "Impossible! How did he escape?" Vados, trying to calm the situation, said in a low voice, "Goku weakened," but Goku interrupted her with a loud and angry voice, "No more words. Today is the day of trial. Nobody will escape." Everyone tried to retreat, but Goku surrounded them with his aura. There was no escape. Whis, with a calm but worried tone, said, "Goku, listen to me. Maybe there is an explanation for all this." Goku replied with contained fury, and his eyes shone with a deadly flash. "Explanation? Was there an explanation for the betrayal of my family, for the murder of Zeno, for my imprisonment? No. Today is not the day of explanations. It is the day of justice."
Nobody will escape. Everyone will pay. Everyone was in a state of extreme shock, their eyes opened side by side as they looked at Goku, who was in front of them with his new strength and a presence that could not be denied. His transformational and absolute instinct made his aura shine in a threatening way, almost consuming the whole place, and his eyes burned with an indelible fury. Virus muttered in fear, feeling for the first time in centuries a chill run through his body. Is this real? Goku, has he returned? How? Belmont shouted, completely bewildered. This can't be true. He was trapped. How did he get out? And how did he get this power? Goku, who had been silent for a few moments, raised his head and looked at everyone with an unforgettable look. His voice was deep and full of anger. Did they think they had gotten rid of me? Did they think they could imprison me and forget me? No, I'm back, and today they will face the consequences of their betrayal. Whis, trembling for the first time in his life, knew that this anger was not common and that it would not be easy to have it. With caution, he tried to calm the situation. "Goku, please listen to us. This was not what we intended. It was all a mistake. We can fix things." But Goku interrupted him, and his voice made the walls tremble. "Fix? Will they return my family? Will pain and betrayal disappear? Today, there will be no fixes. There will only be justice." The angels tried to retreat, but Goku's new aura was enough to immobilize them in their place. The atmosphere was suffocating, and everyone felt that they were facing an impossible force to face. Goku raised his hand with an unbreakable determination and pointed it directly at Virus. He said coldly, mixed with fury, "You bother me, Virus, so now you will also face the consequences." Before Virus could finish his words, Goku threw himself at him at a speed that exceeded light. He only hit, but his impact was catastrophic. Virus shot through the walls, falling to the ground with a force that made everyone in the room tremble. Champa, who was close, screamed terrified. "This is not the Goku we know. What is this monster? How can someone have so much power?"
In a dark moment, charged with mortal tension, Goku raised his hand once again. He pointed it at Virus, and his voice resounded like a thunder, shaking the place. "I'll give you another chance, Virus, or you give me my family right now, or you will disappear forever. You have only 3 seconds." Virus did not respond, but felt an unbearable pressure, as if each particle of his body was being crushed. The cold sweat ran down his face as he remained silent, unable to react. Goku continued the count, with a voice getting louder and louder. Before he could complete the count, Whis gave up all his courage and moved at the speed of light to intervene between Goku and Virus. With a voice full of sadness and fear, he said, "Enough, Goku. If you're going to do it, let me be your goal instead of Virus. I was responsible for you in Universe 7, and if you are going to take revenge, let everything end with me." Goku stopped for a moment and looked at Whis with eyes full of absolute fury, but did not retreat. With coldness, as he concentrated his energy in his hand, which shone with an intensity superior to the sun, he said, "You have chosen to sacrifice yourself, Whis, but do not think that this will change anything. Everyone will pay the price." Unexpectedly, Goku unleashed his colossal explosion, which was like a sun bursting in the place. Whis tried to protect Virus with all his strength, but he could not resist the absolute force of Goku's new transformation. The explosion filled the place, and with it, Whis disappeared. Virus looked at the scene with his eyes wide open, unable to believe what had happened. Virus, who used to be a symbol of strength and control, fell on his knees to the ground. He screamed with force, with tears running down his face. "Whis, why did you do this?" Virus's tears fell hot, and his scream turned into a fury that lit him like fire. He slowly got up, with eyes full of determination that he had never shown before. With a deeply angry voice, looking at Goku, he said, "Goku, you have crossed all limits. I will not stop you. I will make this day the end of everything between us." Virus threw himself at Goku with all his strength. His massive explosion of energy shook the place, but when he approached and launched a blow loaded with all his power, Goku stopped him easily, as if he were holding a child. He pressed against Virus's chest with force, causing the sound of bones to crack to be clearly heard. Virus, struggling to free himself, screamed in pain, but could not resist. Goku pressed harder, and Virus's arms' bones began to creak under his grip. Virus fell on his knees, losing consciousness. The angels who witnessed the scene were in a state of shock and terror. They never imagined that Goku would reach this level of power and brutality. One of them whispered with a trembling voice, "This is not the Goku we know. He has become something completely different." Goku, after taking a last look at Virus lying on the ground, raised his head towards the angels, throwing them a look that made their bodies tremble. He said with a sharp voice, like a sword,
"You are next. Do not try to escape, because you will not escape from me." As Goku raised his hands and began to gather a colossal energy, the environment around him vibrated. The ground under his feet creaked, and the sky turned into a storm of lightning and energy. The screams and pleas of the angels and the gods of destruction did not reach his ears. His focus was completely on revenge. Goku said, "The time to speak is over. Now you will see what it means to play with a fire that cannot be extinguished." Suddenly, in the midst of the tension and fear, another immense energy arose, different from any other present in the place. A light burst into the horizon, forcing everyone to cover their eyes for a moment.
When the light faded, the grandfather was there, surrounded by a furious aura. His face radiated authority, and his gaze were like swords that pierced everyone. The grandfather said with a cold voice, addressing everyone, "What is happening here? Who allowed this chaos?" Everyone was frozen in their places, even Goku, who turned his head towards the grandfather, looking at him with anger, but also with some caution. His voice was tense and angry at the same time. "Are you finally here? Where were you when they destroyed my family? Where were you when they betrayed me?" The grandfather's face was burning with fury, and his voice resounded like a thunder while he said, "You dared to harass my wife. You ruined everything, and you have the shame of facing me with this insolence? I will not allow it. No justification can forgive your actions." Goku, who had the courage to face any enemy, was stunned for a moment. He said with a voice full of anger and amazement, "Me? Harass her? That's a lie. You know me. I couldn't do something like that." But the grandfather was not willing to listen. His voice cut Goku like a sword. "Enough. If you continue to object, I will put an end to all this with my own hands. Your betrayal will not go unpunished." Goku replied, "I know who manipulated your mind, but you will not believe what I say. Do whatever you want, but I am innocent. I would never dare to fight you, because I will not forget the favor you did me." The grandfather raised his hand to destroy Goku, forgetting everything good he had experienced with him. But suddenly, a bright light emerged in the center of the room, causing everyone to step back. When the light diminished, the priest appeared, standing majestically, surrounded by a mysterious aura. He looked directly at the grandfather, then at the grandmother, and said in a deep voice, "Enough lies, enough fights for falsehoods. I have come to reveal the truth, whatever it takes." The grandfather, surprised by the appearance of the priest, looked at him with intense anger. He shouted with a voice full of resentment and betrayal, "You! How dare you appear here? You betrayed me before, and now you appear again?" The priest, who seemed calm despite the storm that surrounded him, responded with a firm tone, "Yes, I betrayed you, but not as you think. Now I am here to correct a major mistake. Goku did not harass your wife. Everything that happened was part of a conspiracy lurking in the shadows." He looked at the grandmother, who began to tremble visibly. The priest pointed at her with confidence and said, "Your wife made up this lie. He wanted to get rid of Goku because he became too powerful. Do you want proof? I have all the facts and all the testimonies. I am the only witness to what happened after Bambolina's." The grandmother tried to pretend to be calm, but she could not hide the concern on her face. She said in a trembling tone, "He lies. Do not believe him. He is a well-known traitor, and he wants to sow discord between us." But the priest ignored his words and looked at the grandfather, saying firmly, "I have spent my life serving you, and I have never lied to you. If you are looking for the truth, she was the one who locked me up with the ring. The proof? I'm still alive. You yourself gave the ring to Goku, and he was the one who released me. She claimed that she would kill Goku anyway after getting rid of me." Goku, who was watching the priest, said with a voice full of anger, but also of gratitude, "Finally, someone reveals his truth. I have done nothing wrong. Everything I wanted was justice for my family and for all those who were betrayed." The grandfather, who seemed to hesitate for the first time, looked at Goku, then at the grandmother, and said in a low but angry voice, "If what the priest says is true, then you will face my justice." The priest laughed out loud, a laugh full of a sense of revenge and satisfaction, while he looked at the grandmother, now exposed to everyone. He said with a voice full of relief, "Your reign is over, Mother. Lies and deception will no longer continue." Suddenly, the grandfather moved with a quick step, his hand impacting the priest's body in an impactful way. Everyone was stunned as the priest coughed blood, his face full of surprise and betrayal. The grandfather said with an angry and painful voice, "You betrayed your family, and you betrayed me, and now you plan to destroy the whole system. There is no place for you among us." The priest, who fell on his knees, looked at Goku with eyes full of tears and said with a hoarse voice, "Goku, forgive me. I just wanted to correct things. I wanted to help you." Goku, who was paralyzed by what had happened, shouted furiously, "Why? Why did you do this? He could have redeemed his mistakes." The grandfather, looking at the priest with a cold expression, said, "Enough agony. He was a traitor from the beginning. There was no hope for redemption for him, and I will not allow him to destroy the system." The priest, despite the pain he suffered, smiled weakly and looked at Goku again. He said with a weak voice as he exhaled his last breath, "Goku, do not let them deceive you. Follow your path and restore the system that everyone deserves." With the fall of the priest, Goku felt his fury and sadness invade him. A shivering scream came from the depths of his being, while his absolute galactic energy exploded around him, burning the earth beneath his feet. The grandfather, who remained motionless, shouted at Goku with a severe voice, "Calm down. Your anger will achieve nothing. If you want to replace the current system, show your strength with wisdom, not madness." But Goku did not listen. He said with a deep and trembling voice, "They destroyed me. They killed my family. They betrayed my trust, and now they destroy anyone who opposes them. No more lies. Today, the debts will be paid. Your time is over. I will rebuild this world from the ruins of their lies."